In our oceans lie the biggest mysteries of our world. It's one of the reasons why divers are fascinated with the bottom of the ocean. And it's due to their relentless submerging in the darkest depths of our seas that we've made some of the most bizarre discoveries. These span from shipwrecks that were deemed forever gone to entire submerged cities that we didn't even know about. Stay close to explore with us the most exciting discoveries made by deep-sea divers. But before we get started, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe and click the notification bell for more such amazing content. A giant eyeball. South Florida beaches are usually places where people find seashells, tiny crawling creatures and a shark tooth here and there. But in October 2012, a man strolling along Pompano Beach came across something out of the ordinary, a humongous disembodied eyeball. Word that a giant eyeball washed up on a South Florida beach had created a lot of buzz on the internet, with people wondering which sea monster is now swimming around with an eye patch. Turns out it's just an eyeball from an average-sized swordfish. Florida wildlife authorities explained that swordfish are extremely common off the coast of South Florida. The eyeball was probably taken out by a fisherman who threw it out into the water and it washed up on the beach. It's not some sort of sea monster or anything like that. Though the official explanation ended much speculation about the mysterious eyeball, it still is a weird discovery and has left many people flabbergasted. After all, it's not every day one walks along the beach in Florida and discovers a giant lone eyeball washing up on shore. Anyhow, for being justifiably weird, gross and mysterious all at the same time, the story earned the title of National Geographic's Weirdest Story of 2012. US fighter planes lost during World War II. Throughout time, history has also benefited from underwater discoveries. 76 years after the Operation Hailstone, an assault of the Allied forces on a Japanese naval base during World War II, a team of researchers discovered former American fighter planes buried deep underwater. It's not every day that you stumble across a warplane recalling of old wars. Project Recover discovered 2 dive bombers and 1 Avenger at the Truk Lagoon in the Chunk state of Micronesia. But the battle losses include more than 50 Japanese ships and 230 aircraft, 30 of which were American. What's even crazier is how the project team found the airplanes. To locate them amid the coral and debris, the team used the story of an airplane gunner who remembered seeing a dive bomber fall while attacking a Japanese transport ship. It seems that it's usually difficult to spot aircraft underwater. As the expedition leader explains, when these aircraft crash into the water, they don't look like aircraft anymore. Most of them are piles of metal that don't rise very far off the bottom of the ocean. Well, I guess this time they were very lucky. Giant anaconda. Some dive in the hope of discovering archaeological treasures. Others, however, have more of an adrenaline-triggered wish to dive with sharks. The second category includes diver Bartolomeo Bove, a professional underwater videographer and shark diver. But coming face-to-face with the largest snake in the world was a special experience even for risk-taker Bove. And hear this, on purpose too. It appears there's a specific place, the Formosa River in Brazil, where people go to swim with the anacondas. Normally, anacondas prefer murky waters, but for some reason they also thrive in the crystal clear waters of this river, making it the perfect place to photograph the magnificent snake. The specimen found by Bove and his partner was particularly stunning, a 23-foot-long female of nearly 200 pounds. As it turns out, the female was actually curious and friendly, getting close to the divers and inspecting the camera before swimming away. Bove described the experience as unbelievable, adding, "No words can do justice to the sensations that I was really feeling." Crosses underwater. Never dive on La Palma unless you're willing to end up with white hair. This is what awaits you at a depth of 20 meters, 40 creepy crosses covered with algae. The story of this installation is worthy of a horror movie. In 1570, the Portuguese missionary Inácio de Azevedo sailed with 39 companions to the coast of La Palma, but never made it ashore. The ship was captured by pirates. Its commander treated the crew in a really cruel manner. He threw the people into the sea and watched them slowly sink. In 2000, a monument was erected to commemorate the victims. We hope they finally found some peace. Human gyre. This one takes us to the Atlantic Ocean. A few years ago, off the coast of the Spanish island of Lanzarote, the first underwater museum in Europe was opened, El Museo Atlántico. Its collection includes more than 300 sculptures, but we have bad news for people who expect to see some fish or jellyfish among them. The main installation immediately tests the mental strength of the divers. It's a terrible gyre of 200 life-sized human figures. Its author, Jason DeCanas Taylor, claims that it's a symbol of our relationship with water. Mr. Taylor certainly has a wild imagination. Giant knife. Take a look at this truly extraordinary image which shows a team of scuba divers who retrieved a giant bladed object from the bottom of the ocean. The odd truth is almost nothing could be found about this object, although the image was believed to have been captured by a team of professional scuba divers back in 2014. Ever since the image hit the web, from private message boards to scuba diving forums, the people behind the photograph have never claimed ownership. Astonishingly, many people believe that this giant blade is yet another evidence pointing towards an ancient forgotten mystery. The thing is, some people believe that the giant blade is indicative of giant humanoids who once roamed the planet, and this was potentially a tool of theirs. Or perhaps even a weapon. While most are skeptical, it's certainly an interesting theory given the fact that dozens of ancient bladed artifacts have been unearthed from the bottoms of lakes, rivers and oceans throughout history. Until more details come out, this mystery will remain unsolved. Underwater river. If we were to pick only one unbelievable sight out of all, it would be this one. Divers were always aware of the strange things they can encounter below the water's surface. Even so, no diver ever expected to find an underwater river. I know, that hardly seems plausible, but today, thanks to divers' explorations of the sinkholes of the Yucatan Peninsula, we know that underwater rivers do exist. The sinkholes were found to be full of treasures, from Mayan artifacts to incredible caves. However, the most astounding phenomenon discovered in the Cenote Angelita sinkhole was the eerie underwater river hidden just 100 feet below. If you're wondering how the river formed, so did we. It appears it was created due to different densities of water. The first 29 meters are formed of fresh water, while the layer below contains hydrogen sulfide, which is heavier. When the two meet, a cloudy phenomenon resembling fog is created, giving the river a magical appearance. That's the kind of discovery that shakes up everything we know about how the ecosystem works. Argyroneta aquatica. Spiders are already terrifying enough and walk the landscapes with their revolting tentacles, but Mother Nature decided to evolve these creatures and give them the ability to breathe on the water too. Yes, you heard it right. The Argyroneta aquatica makes up its own makeshift gills by capturing nothing but air bubbles from the surface with the help of its web. With the air in the bubble, the spider breathes in and swims in the water. Since the bubbles can't last for a long time, these spiders stay close to the surface in order to refill their DIY oxygen tanks. Well, although it's fascinating to see how smart they are, divers or snorkelers would definitely be terrified to bump into one. So next time you're diving into the waters, make sure to not bump into this little guy. The Antikythera Mechanism. When we try to know about the ancient civilizations like the Mayans or Incans or Egyptians, it's been observed that they were more advanced than us and held knowledge about stars and galaxies without the use of a Hubble telescope. Innovative technologies in the past have been abundant and have aided the earlier civilizations shape their future. We know this because time after time, objects are found in ancient ruins or under the sea beds that tell us more about our past. One such marvelous piece of equipment was found in a rotting Roman-era shipwreck beneath 148 feet of water at Antikythera. A group of fishermen in 1902 snagged out this device, which was covered in other artifacts, and since then the device is known as the Antikythera Mechanism. Observations showed the device was invented between 200 BC and 70 BC, which makes it over 2,000 years old. The archaeologists found out that this piece of technology was used to calculate dates and predict astronomical events like phases of the moon and eclipses, and they did this by tracking the lunar calendar. Currently, the price of this device is much higher than the Mona Lisa, which means the device is worth more than $100 million. The Antikythera Mechanism presently sits at the most valuable exhibit at the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. The longest sea animal ever. On April 6, 2020, the deep sea in Ningaloo Coast in Australia unveiled an approximately 30 new marine species. But wait, that's not all. The researchers found out the longest animal ever actually lived beneath us in the ocean's depths. This thread-like creature is not a new species, since scientists already know it as siphonophore, a little sea predator made up of identical creatures called zooids. They combine together as one large string in the ocean where they can reach a whopping length of 130 feet. But this siphonophore is unlike any other because its outer rings spread out to 154 feet long, and when combined, this creature's total length is more than 390 feet. making it the longest animal ever to swim in planet Earth. Mind-blowing, right? Thonis Heracleion. The question whether Atlantis, the mythical island lost under the seas, existed or not may never find an answer. But the existence of entire cities that we found no trace of on land have been elucidated thanks to deep diving. It stands to prove that after 1,000 years underwater and layers of sand, the city of Thonis Heracleion at the edge of ancient Egypt was revealed to the world. It was in the early 2000s that a group of divers randomly stumbled upon a large fragment of rock in the seabed, the first of 6 that would follow. It turned out that the pieces were part of the long-lost city because temple ruins, pottery, jewels and other treasures were soon found in the same place. From here on, an entire project to uncover the city began, using a side-scan sonar as well as a nuclear magnetic resonance magnetometer to pinpoint the presence of large objects. The Thonis Heracleion's discovery is yet another testimony of today's technological advancement and human adaptation. Jason Voorhees underwater statue. As if horror flicks aren't full of enough things that go bump in the night, here's an underwater discovery that'll make scary movie fans extra terrified. In northern Minnesota, someone created a life-size statue of Jason Voorhees, one of Hollywood's most infamous killers, complete with his iconic hockey mask and machete, and dumped it into the bottom of Crystal Lake. It's been sitting there ever since, waiting to give unsuspecting divers a heart attack. The man behind the statue, Curtis Lahr, says the statue is planted 120 feet down in the lake. Adding to the creepiness, Lahr says the lake is an old iron ore pit. He also shot a video of the submerged nightmare he created in 2013 and uploaded it to YouTube, and since then it's been giving goosebumps to internet users and freaking out people who are already scared of going into the water. Even though Jason isn't real, imagine how you would have reacted upon stumbling upon it. You would have definitely wanted to strangle it for making your worst nightmares a reality. Monster fish. Our first dive will take us to Lake Neuchâtel in Switzerland. Its maximum depth is 152 meters. At first, the flashlights only illuminate the stones and algae. But what is this strange silhouette? It's a huge, toothed and scary fish that looks like a hybrid between a crazy shark and an anglerfish. Imagine seeing this creature through a foggy mask. Would you realize it's just a sculpture before you have a heart attack? Of course, local divers know this place very well and think it's a prop that was left here after being used for a movie. Luckily, it doesn't move, but the fish around it also have frozen strangely. Prop or not, this monstrosity is bound to scare off any unsuspecting divers. Gold treasure. Sometimes diving feels like winning the lottery. That must have been the feeling for Zvika Feyer and his team when they stumbled across a 2,000 gold coin treasure, the largest ever found in the region of Caesarea, Israel. Interestingly, Zvika had scuba dived in the area a lot of times before with no clue of the treasure that waited to be discovered. First, he saw a glimmer in the sand of the ocean floor, which had just been stirred up by the previous night's violent storm. He expected to find a discarded sweet wrapper, like a chocolate coin, but instead he found a real Arabic gold coin. Sweeping more and more sand aside, Zvika found another coin, and then another, and another, until he realized what he stumbled upon. Together with the Israeli Antiquities Authority, the divers recovered an entire long-lost treasure of 24-karat gold. It was later revealed that one single coin would cover a 1-month salary for a military soldier, so the entire treasure could have been used to hire a 2,000-soldier army for a month. Which of these underwater sites are you dying to explore? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please let me know by clicking the like button. Do share, write a comment, and don't forget to subscribe so that you can catch up my next video.